and welcome back to Life Addictions, the Recovery and Prevention Show. We have two very special guests with us on this second half of our show. We have Ben Dobbs.
How you doing, John?
How are you doing? And Daniel Cornide.
Good morning, John.
How are you? Welcome to our show. As you know, we have a show that talks about recovery, prevention in the form of substance addiction and behavioral addictions. So I want to welcome both of you.
Thank you.
Now, I understand you're both from Faith Farm Ministries. You're graduates, and it's a great program that I heard a lot about. Tell us a little bit more about it. Ben, introduce yourself first, and
Hi, my name is Ben Dobbs. I recently graduated Faith Farm Ministries September 11th this year. And it was a great program. It taught me how to deal with things on a mental basis and to go through life and the obstacles without the use of drugs.
Yeah.
And it's It's a very good program. They actually implement structure. That's the main thing, because as an addict, you go through life, and as you start using the drugs, you do it to handle your structure or your everyday life process, but then the addiction allows you to lose that structure, and you stop caring about regular life circumstances.
Daniel, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you and your experience here at Faith Farm.
Good morning. My name is Daniel Cornide, and I'm a recent graduate of Faith Farm Ministries as well. I recently graduated in July of this past year. And I've been an addict struggling with recovery for the past 10 years. And Faith Farm Ministry was a great program for me. It was a chance to go really inside and discover what my character defects are and what my behavioral patterns are that have caused me to use. When I think the most important part is to discover not the fact that we're addicts, it's our behaviors that lead us to become addicts. And this process is a process of going inside and figuring out what your character defects are and why you're an addict, as opposed to being an addict.
You know, you guys are two great representations of what Faith Farm Ministries does. It's a Christian-based organization here in the Florida area, and it really takes young men and women that are struggling with addiction, and it really turns their lives around. We've had guests on that, talked about Christian-based organizations. Well, let me tell you, Faith Farm Ministries is one of the best that are out there. And guys, talk to us about, now that you're clean and sober, and you look fresh, you look cleaned up, and I understand you're going into the addiction recovery field as potential counselors in the future.
Correct.
And you're looking at this as a life-changing event. And so you're going to go help other recovering addicts and yourselves, first and foremost. Talk to us a little bit about where you're going in the future.
Basically, while I was at Faith Farm, I had no idea where I was going to go as I left, but I started to build a heart and a concern as I looked at people in that program that weren't, maybe that you could see that they were mentally relapsing in the program.
Right.
But your heart goes out because you've been there. You know the hurts and pains that you cause, not only yourself, but your family and the people surrounding you. And it's something to deal with. But as you deal with it, you start realizing that you can achieve certain things in life, from the basics of just going out and having fun with drugs. And you could start adapting to the atmosphere outside of the program. But you really want to give back, because you feel for these people that still struggle with addictions. When it's not easy, but yes, the steps can be simple if you don't emphasize on falling backwards.
Now, Daniel, a lot of people in the recovery field today, leaders in the field, doctors, psychiatrists, CEOs of rehab centers, nationwide, have been an addict at one point or another, or they've had a family member that died or succumbed to some kind of addiction. The most passionate people in the field have been in recovery. And you guys are headed there, you guys are giving back. Tell us a little bit about how that feels.
Well, John, I think that it's very important for addicts in recovery to be able to give back what was freely given to them. And you'll see that the 12-step program is one of the basis of that program is to go ahead and get a sponsor and have someone that's been through recovery guide someone who's newly in recovery, so you can kind of mentor them and let them know exactly what they're going to be going through, how they're going to be going through it, and what those feelings and emotions are, and how to deal with those feelings and emotions. And I think that's very important in your own personal growth as a recovering addict, to freely give back to addicts that are newly in recovery.
Well, as you can see, we have two fine examples of people. You know, when you become addicted to a substance, a behavior, you know, you go into a great program, you recover, and we're going to talk about some spirituality in a minute. But these are two fine examples of how life can continue. You can give back. You can start again. You know, a lot of times addiction takes 5, 10, 15, 20, even 30 years out of a person's life in a flash. And the next thing you know, you're 40, you're 50, and you're like, ever since I was a teenager, this thing has been kicking my ass.
Yeah.
So you two guys are young men. You're going to go out there, and you notice this, right? Addiction can really take a bulk of your life away from you.
Yes. Mine was 15, age 15 to about 33.
Yeah, so that's, what is that, 20, almost 20 years?
Yeah, and it was basis, it was first to start out partying.
Yeah.
And my downfall was the pain medications.
Mm-hmm. And yours as well, similar?
I had a similar experience. I would say a good 13 years of my life I've been battling with alcohol and cocaine addiction. And basically, it takes everything out of you. Everything that is life is completely sucked out of you through your addiction. And it's very important, and I say this to all addicts, it's very important to find out why you use.
Right.
That's the underlying problem. It's not that you're using is the problem. It's why you're using. What are your character defects? What are your emotional traumas from birth that have led you to use? And I think that's the fundamental principle that we need to look at.
Daniel, well put. Ben, well put. We're going to be back, and when we come back, we're going to talk about relapse, prevention, and spirituality. Life Addictions, the recovery program, has been under development for over 3 years. It's personal, portable, and more importantly, it works. My motivation to start this business was to help people with addictions, to literally help save lives.
We're best known for our delivery system. It's called the Recovery Pod, embedded with life-saving audio. Just open it up, turn it on, and hit play.
Along with your Recovery Pod, you get a 4-page laminated follow-along guide. What sets us apart from our competition is our message. It's uplifting, inspiring, and to the point.
My name is John Laus, the creator and developer of Life Addictions, the recovery program. Our model of recovery starts with clarity. Clarity from the minute you wake up and open your eyes. Knowledge and know-how. Know-how are the things that motivate a person to change and take action, like your health, your family, a life that works, and a life with a purpose. Life Addictions, the recovery program. Visit us at our website at lifeaddictions.com. Welcome back to Life Addictions, the Recovery and Prevention Show. We have two dynamic guests with us, Ben Dobbs and Daniel Cornine. Daniel, am I saying that right?
You're saying it correct.
Okay, very good. What you just saw was another 1-minute commercial on our product called the Recovery Pod. It's an audio recovery program. It's really using technology in the best form possible to help people focus on their recovery and keep them clean from a relapse and just keep their stinking thinking to a minimum and putting in positive thoughts instead of some of those negative thoughts that people with, that are recovering from addiction sometimes go through. What do you think about a product like this, the Recovery Pod?
Well, basically, I mean, it's great because one of the things I went through was my influences around me.
Yeah.
So by being able to not so much isolate, but seclude yourself with the refreshing and renewing of something that you can attach to your ears and just listen to, it's a reminder.
Right.
And it's a refreshing tool so you don't get sidetracked and, it can keep you going focused and forward.
It really is. It's audio feedback in the best way possible. We use a couple laws of learning. One is the law of repetition.
Yes.
Where when you hear something over and over again, you're going to retain it. And the other is the law of recency, which is whenever you hear the most recent, you're going to retain. So as you know, when you're in recovery, you really need to hear those positive feedback things. And it talks a lot about, a third of our product talks about underlying causes. So it's very important. And talking about relapse and prevention, now that you guys are clean and sober, you're fresh, you're out there, you're in the field, How do you stop from relapsing? How do you stop from preventing yourself? You know, prevention takes on a lot of connotations. How do you prevent yourself from relapse? Talk to us about that, Dana.
Well, John, I would say that with relapse prevention, you have to be very, very careful not to reoccur your old behaviors. People, places, things, that's what the program speaks of, the 12-step program. It's very difficult to go back to the same places, hang out in the same places, to deal with the same people that have brought back a lot of, that can bring back a lot of memories. And
so you have to cut those ties.
You have to cut those ties. That's a fundamental truth of recovery. You have to cut those ties.
And behaviors as well, thought processes. You really got to change everything, don't you?
Yes, yes. And I mean, the 12 steps offers that. And with this, it would be great because it reminds you of that cutoff point. And then also, a lot of times in addiction, you become reliant on other people. And people don't realize this, but your influences and your friends can bring you down quicker than actually yourself. And you know, it just takes that one phone call for someone to tell you, hey, there's a party over here. So you have to be disciplined in that area.
You know, there's a saying in the program that says, stick with the winners. And you really got to stick with the winners.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about, I know Faith Farm Ministries is a wonderful program, and these two men are graduates of Faith Farm Ministries, and a large part of their program is spiritual based, which is huge in the recovery process. Talk to us a little bit about spirituality, what you learned and how it's inspired you to change your life.
Well, basically, the spirituality is, I like to say it this way, that the substance abuse actually revealed that I was lacking substance as a person. So being able to tap into the spirituality part of it, if I do lack in certain things, in certain discipline and obedience, the spiritual significance, God can replace that, and God can make you have fun and enjoy life and have peace and joy through every circumstance. And it's very good. It's very good.
Daniel, tell us your take on spirituality and how it's really changed and inspired you.
John, it's really inspired me learning about my addiction. One thing that Faith Farm Ministries did give to me was that spiritual aspect of recovery, which I wasn't aware of from other secular programs. And we do have a void as human beings, and really understanding the fact that we're a three-part being that's spirit, body, and soul. And understanding that the spiritual element of recovery is one that's very important. We have a gap as addicts inside, and we're searching and longing to fill that void with something that we can't fill. Only through spirituality and only with a God element to it can we fill that and be whole as a person.
Well, guys, I am so glad you came on the show today. Faith Farm Ministries has a website. Do you know the website? Do you have a contact number where we have many viewers that are watching. Some of them that are watching might have a family member, might have a friend or a co-worker that maybe needs help in recovery from an addiction. What is the contact information for Faith Farm Ministries? Can you give it to us?
I'm going to go straight with the phone number because I myself, at that time of that point of desperation, I didn't have time to go to an email address. I went straight to the phone number, and the phone number is 561-737-2222. And you get a hold of John Giammo and the great intake officers there, and they'll help the process go along speedy and quickly. And it is a free program.
It's a free program. It's an amazing thing. Faith Farm Ministries. Now, they're based in Florida, is that right?
Yes, they have 3 locations: Fort Lauderdale, Boynton Beach, and Okeechobee.
But now, people come from all over the nation, is that right?
Yes.
So this is a great site. If you're watching, no matter where you are in the country, please call Faith Farm Ministries. The number is up. And I think we have www.faithfarm.org. Guys, anything else you want to tell us?
John, I'll just finish off by saying that recovery is basically the most difficult thing that an addict will ever have to do in their life. You have to really want to change your life. When you've really had enough with addiction, you can do it. We can do it. I'm living proof of it. Benjamin Dobbs is living proof, and a whole bunch of other PhDs and doctors in these recovery programs are living proof that recovery does work. You just need to stick to the basics and and really give everything you have into it, and you can change.
Guys, it has been a pleasure. Faith Farm Ministries has done a wonderful job with you two. The recovery field is huge, it's promising, and we need great people like you, both of you, in that field. I interview CEOs, I interview leaders of the field all the time, and I look forward to working with both of you in the future.
Thank you very much, son.
This is Life Addictions, the Recovery and Prevention Show. My name is John Lausch, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you.